welcome to Psychosins Psychoanalysis, continuing the catch-up from last year with something that came out about midway through last year, so I've been kind of a bit slow on catching up on things here, but this is the box set from MCA Records of 70s rock band Budgie, of 3 albums. There you go. It's called the MCA albums, 1973, 1975, and the albums on here are Never Turn Your Back on a Friend, In for the Kill, and Bandolier. Now, bear in mind, this is my first time ever listening to the band, despite my dad telling me I should probably listen to them. I bought this, as I said, halfway through 2016. I've only just got round to listening to it. So what I'm going to do with this review, something a bit different. I'm going to review each album individually and then give you a kind of summary on whether this box set is worth your time. So let's get into this. Never Turn Your Back on the Friend is the third album by Welsh rock band Budgie and the first CD involved as part of this MCA album's box set collection. Now, bear in mind, it's my first time ever actually listening to the band Budgie, and this is the album that has the song that a lot of metalheads will know because it was covered by Metallica. I am, of course, talking about Bread Fan, and that, in fact, kicks off the album with its absolutely awesome driving riff. If you've never heard Bread Fan, do yourself a favour, look it up on YouTube after this review, and you'll love that riff. I can see why it was finally covered by a metal band. Okay, it's not a metal band I personally like, but it was covered by a metal band. And then you have some fantastic sort of really good showing of instrumentals. Bearing in mind, this is only a trio, but they make a bigger noise, bigger sound than you would expect from a trio of band. If that even made sense, that wasn't even English, was it? From a trio band, there we go. That's probably makes more sense. You've got the sort of ballady "Baby Please Don't Go." Now, I'm not sure if this is how the original sounded, but on here, on this remastered version, for some reason, on "Baby Please Don't Go," it sounds like the singers sucked a tank of helium before going to the studio to record his vocals. I don't know, it sounds a little bit like it's been sped up a little weirdly. I don't know, maybe that's how the original sounded. Then you've got, You Know I'll Always Love You, the traditional 70s rock ballad, as it were. Then you've got the drum intro, bit like Rat Salad from Black Sabbath's album, but the drum solo that kicks off "You're the Biggest Thing Since Powdered Milk." Yep, that is indeed the title. There's some weird titles on this album, actually. You've also got "In the Grip of a Tire Fitter's Hand," but "You're the Biggest Thing Since Powdered Milk," one of the highlights of the album for me, along with Bread Fan. And you've got "Riding My Nightmares," pretty damn good driving rock song. And then it finishes off with the epic "Parents," which includes some amazingly emotional guitar solos and playing, the kind of guitar playing you just don't really hear anymore in mainstream rock and metal. There's bands doing it. Obviously, you've got the odd exceptions such as Devin Townsend and Slash is still going as well, but nothing really quite gets there like 70s style rock solos. Anyway, that is the first album as part of this trio, well, as part of this MCA albums box set of Budgie. Let's get on to the second one. The second Budgie album, as part of the Budgie MCA Records collection, is In for the Kill, which I believe is their 4th album. I might be wrong on that. And now this continues in the vein of the previous album of being full of absolutely awesome rock and roll songs. And you can see more from this than the last album, that there's definitely the beginning rumblings of what was to become metal. I think Budgie, along with Black Sabbath and a fair few other bands, helped progress the metal genre. There's a lot of riffs on there, some fantastic soulful guitar solos. Again, it seems like Budgie is a band I really should have got into years ago, if I'm honest, as they seem to have exactly the kind of rock and roll sound I like, that a lot of bands are now bringing back, bands such as sort of Airborne and Blackstone Cherry and stuff, with that little bit of a bluesy feel to some of their riffs as well, and some of their solos. Which has another song on here, Crash Course in Brain Surgery, which I think was also covered by not Black Sabbath, Metallica, if I remember rightly. I might be wrong on that. I know there was some big metal band who covered Crash Course in Brain Surgery, but it's gone out of my head. I'm just thinking probably Metallica on the Garage Inc. album. I've said to Metallica a lot in these reviews, and I'm not a fan of them either, that's the thing, but I seem to know a lot about them. It's kind of worrying for me, because I've got to get called out on it, aren't I? Anyway, back to Budgie. They're definitely one of the sort of great English bands that seems to have been kind of cruelly forgotten by a lot of modern bands and all that. And if you're in a modern band and like your rock and roll, or if you just like rock and roll in general, have never checked them out, definitely go sort of check out Budgie. I've got one more album left of this box set. As for the re-release, that it's come out very, very clearly, very, very crisp production on it, very nicely sort of digitally upgraded, as it were, in the sound. That's not a technical term, obviously, and it comes through fantastically. So not a bad sort of remaster at all. Anyway, let's get into the last album of the collection. Bandolier is the third and final album as part of the Budgie MCA albums collection box set that came out last year. And of the three albums, I'd say this is probably the weakest. Not that it's a bad album, but I found that a few of the songs didn't really grab my attention as much as the other albums. They're still sort of going on the whole rocky, bluesy metal sound that they have. But on this, I feel the songs were maybe a little bit too slow, maybe at times, and some of the songs didn't quite have the same plethora of riffs that the previous albums had. There was no like Red Fan or Crash Course in Surgery on this album. However, there is a fantastic song at the end that's in two parts called Napoleon Bonaparte 1 and Napoleon Bonaparte 2 even. So that's an awesome song, awesome two-part song. But the rest of the album, it kind of just drifted by in a bit of a haze of slightly generic riffs. I'm saying all this, it will probably end up being a fan favourite of Budgie fans. But what can I say? This is how I felt on the album. But again, the sound quality has been fantastically sort of upped into the digital realms, as it were. And yeah, so all in all, the box set as a total, is it worth the 12? I think it's 12 or 15 pound I paid for it. Absolutely. If you've never heard the band before, well worth getting into it. I'm glad it's given me the chance to give them a listen after my dad sort of been telling me to listen to them for many, many years. And yeah, if you've never heard the band, definitely go grab it. If nothing else, just for Bread Fan and Crash Course in Brain Surgery. But yeah, the rest of the album really good. There's no like absolutely terrible album on here, just one lesser good album, as it were. So yeah, well worth your money. 4 out of 5 from me. So there you have it. That is what I thought of Budgie, the MCA albums. There we are. Box set collection of 3 albums. Thank you very much for watching. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, or unsubscribe if I was speaking English. Also, feel free to check out my Patreon. It's down the bottom there and in the description. And don't forget to check out my friend Drop Dead Bunny's channel as well. Link up there in the corner, also in the description as well. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.